In this lesson, we look at expanded form, and these are the things we will learn under expanded form. 1. We will look at what place value is. What is place value? 2. We will also look at the definition and use of expanded form. 3. We will also look at how to write a number in expanded form using the place value chart. And the last thing will be how to write a number in expanded form without using the place value chart. So let's get started. In this lesson, we look at what we call expanded form. In our previous lesson, we looked at what we call place value. We look at, the value of a digit depending on the position of the digit in the number. Example, if I write the number 472, we look at the value of the digit 4, the value of the digit 7, and the value of the digit 2. So what is the value of a number depending on the position of the number? In our previous lessons, we learned how to draw what we call the place value chart. And I want to show you what we mean by the place value chart. It's something like this. It helps us to determine the value of the numbers or the digits in a number. So we begin from here. We say there is the ones column, we say there is the tens column, and there is the hundreds column. Then we say there is the thousands column, and we say 10,000s. Okay, then we have 100,000s. Okay, then we come to millions. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I write this number, I will start from the right, that is 2. Then I'll write 2 here for the ones column. Then I have 7 and 4. So what it means is that the number 2 or the digit 2 belongs to the ones column. So it means I have just 2 ones. Then the 7 belongs to the tens. So I have 7 tens. So there is ones and there is tens, and I have 4 belonging to the hundreds column. So I have 4 hundreds. All right. Now there is something that we call expanded form, but I want us to look at 2 things here. We have what we call expanded notation. We will begin from this expanded notation. Then we will simplify it to something called expanded form. I want you to watch the 2 very well. They are slightly different. They are not essentially the same. We will begin from the notation, then from that we will get the form. So when we say expanded form or notation, it gives us the opportunity to write a number, by expressing or showing the place value of the digits that form the number without necessarily using the place value chart. Now, that is what I mean here. Now, if you take the number 472, that is 472, because 4 is at the hundreds place value, we say 4 is at 100. So we say 4 times 100. So that is 400. And then we have plus, so we sum them. And because 7 is at the tens column, we say the 72 times 10. Then we say plus the 2 times 1. Okay. Now, when you write this, we call this the expanded notation. All right. So that is the notation. Expanded notation. So you can see that we don't even need a place value chart. By just looking at the number 4, you know that it belongs to the hundreds position. Looking at the number 7, it belongs to the tens position. And looking at the number 2, you know that it belongs to the ones position. So when we say expanded form, it essentially means when you write a number as the sum of the products of the individual digits and their place values, you see, it gives you what we call the expanded form or notation. So we call this expanded notation when we see the times and the plus here. So we have the individual digits multiplying their place values. We call it a notation because we use this to note or to denote or to show were the individual digit form. But when we simplify this a little bit further, we call it expanded form. So what then is the difference between the form and the notation? It is as simple as that. That is, when you simplify out the multiplication, we get the form. So 4 times 100, we have 400. Then we have plus 7 times 10, we have 70, plus then 2 times 1 is 2. So we call this expanded notation, and we call this expanded form. So that is the slight difference between the two. So expanded form allows us to write a number by noting the place values of the digits without necessarily using the place value chart. Now let's look at another example too here. So let's write the number 7238 in expanded form. Now how do we pronounce this number? We have 3 digits at the back here, so we say 7238. So you hear the thousands, right? 7,000. So it means 7 belongs to the thousands position. So how do we write this? Now let us look at this here. The first digit here is times 1. The second is times 10. The third, so times 10 times 10, we have 100. So times 100. Then the 100 times 10, then we have times 1,000. Okay. So how do we write this in expanded notation? So let us begin with the notation first, then we go on to the form. So we have expanded notation, and this is going to be 7 times 1,000. So that is the first one, plus then the 2 also belongs to the hundreds. Then we say plus 3 belongs to the tens, and we say plus 8 belongs to the ones. So we say 7,238. All right, so let's go on to simplify this to get what we mean by the expanded form. So for the expanded form, all that we have to do is to simplify out the multiplication sign so that we have just the addition sign. So 7 times 1,000, we have 7,000, and 2 times 100, we have 200. 3 times 10, we have 30, and 8 times 1, we have 8. Voila. So that is what we call the expanded form. So this is how we write this number 7,238. So you can see that the expanded form gives us the ability to write a number so that we can, identify the place value of the individual digits without necessarily using the place value charts that we did in the first lesson. So by looking at just the number or the digit 7, you can see that it belongs to the thousands because we have 7,000 here. Looking at the digit 2, it belongs to the hundreds. So because we have 200 here, and then the digit 3, it belongs to the tens. The digit 1 stands alone, and there is one of it, so that is the ones. So we have 8 ones, we have 30 tens, then we have 2 hundreds, then we have 7 thousands. All right, so that is how we write it. Let's take the last example. It's very interesting, isn't it? All right, so we look at this number. How do we even pronounce this number? Let me try to look at it. From the right, we have 1, 2, 3, comma, we have 1, 2, 3. All right, so we say 164,092. So you can see that the hundreds position, we have 0 there. So we have, zeros of the hundreds. So there is no hundreds anyway. So we have 164,000, we have 92. Now, there is no need to use a place value chart. All that we have to do is to write this in expanded notation. So let us look at it quickly here. From the right, we have times 1. So this, the 2 is in the ones position. So times 10, this will be 10. 9 is in the tens position. So, and this will be the hundreds position, times 100. And the 4 is in the thousands position, times 1,000. And the 6 is in the 10,000s position. So we have 10,000. And the ones is in the hundreds of thousands, so 100,000s position. So how do we write this in expanded notation? So we're going to expand the number. First, let's look at notation. Okay, and this is going to be this. So the 3 is at 100,000s. Sorry, the ones. This is the number anyway. So the 1 is at 100,000. So we have 1 times 100,000. See, so we have plus. The 6 is at the 10,000, so we have 6 times 10,000 plus, and we have 4 at the thousands position, so we have 4 times 1000 plus, let's look at the next digits. What do we have? We have 0, and 0 2 is at where? Is at the hundreds position. So we have 0 times 100. Then we have plus. The next one is 9 at the tens position. Then we have the last one, which is 2. So plus 2, which is at the ones position. So that is what we have for the expanded notation. Now let us simplify it and get what we mean by the expanded form. So let's write it in expanded form. So the expanded form, what we're going to do essentially is to simplify out only the multiplication here. So we have 1 times 100,000, and that's going to be 100,000. We have 6 times 10,000, so that'll be 60,000. Okay. We have 4 times 1,000, that's going to be 4,000. Then we have 0 times 100,000. Of course, that's going to give us 0. And we have 9 times 10, we have 90, and 2 times 1 is 2. So that is the expanded notation, and of course 0 can be left out. So essentially this is going to be 100,000 plus 60,000 plus 4,000. So there will be no 0. Then we have 90, then we say plus 2. So this is the expanded form of the number 164,092.